The great hall of the Galactic Assembly was filled with light and sound. Hundreds of alien races sat in curved rows, their eyes, tendrils, or glowing sensors fixed on the center stage. The humans stood there, calm and silent, their expressions unreadable. Ambassador Han Dae-hyun waited for the High Chancellor to finish speaking, his hands behind his back. His aide Park Ji-won stood a few steps behind him, holding the data tablet tightly. Every word spoken in the hall echoed through millions of systems across the galaxy. This was supposed to be a meeting for peace, but everyone in the room felt the tension like a storm before lightning. For months, humanity had tried to reason with the Assembly. They wanted equal voting rights, fair trade, and the right to defend their colonies without asking permission from alien governments. But to the rest of the galaxy, humans were still seen as dangerous creatures from a death world, a planet too violent and harsh for most species to survive. The other delegates laughed at their requests. They spoke of peace, yet they built fleets and imposed sanctions on Earth. Dae-hyun had listened to the insults in silence, his face calm but his heart burning with anger. When the High Chancellor finally spoke, her voice was smooth and cold. "The Council of Peace has decided," she said. "Earth will surrender its military ships to ensure galactic safety. Humans will not be allowed to expand beyond their current borders." A murmur spread across the room. Many alien ambassadors looked pleased. Some smiled, others whispered in their languages. Dae-hyun took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Madam Chancellor," he began, his voice even, "you speak of peace while you threaten my people. You demand our ships, our freedom, our future, and you call it safety." The Chancellor's eyes narrowed. "Ambassador, you are not in a position to lecture the Assembly. Humanity's history is one of war and blood. We cannot risk letting your kind spread that chaos into the stars." Ji-won looked at Dae-hyun nervously. She could see the muscles in his jaw tighten. The entire human delegation stood silently behind him, 20 men and women representing Earth, Mars, Luna, and the outer colonies. Their faces showed no emotion, but their eyes were cold. They had been insulted before, but this felt different. This time it was not just arrogance, it was domination. Dae-hyun slowly placed his hands on the table in front of him. The lights caught the reflection of his polished rank insignia. "If you fear us because we fought to survive," he said, "then you have never truly understood humanity. We do not seek war, but if you push us into a corner, we will fight to the last." A loud hiss came from one of the delegates, a creature with silver scales and 3 glowing eyes. "Threats, you see? They always resort to threats. Deathworlders have no place in our assembly." The Chancellor struck the table with her staff, silencing the noise. "Enough, the vote will proceed." She turned toward the delegates. "All in favor of sanctions on Earth, raise your symbols." One by one, hundreds of glowing emblems rose into the air. Ji-won felt her stomach drop. She looked around and saw only a few who dared to abstain. None voted against it. The room filled with cold, bright light as the decision became official. Humanity was now under galactic sanction. Earth had been humiliated before the eyes of the entire galaxy. Dae-hyun stood motionless for a long time. Then very quietly he said, "So be it." He turned and faced his delegation. "We are leaving." His voice carried through the room, calm but sharp. The human diplomats and officers moved as one, collecting their tablets and documents. Their boots struck the floor in perfect rhythm as they walked toward the exit. No one spoke. No one looked back. A deep silence fell over the hall. Even the Chancellor did not move. The sound of human footsteps echoed against the wall, steady and heavy. The other delegates whispered among themselves, confused and uneasy. No one had ever seen humans walk out of the assembly before. Dae-hyun did not stop until he reached the grand doors. He turned one last time and looked at the sea of alien faces. "When you call for peace again," he said softly, "remember this day." The doors closed behind them with a thunderous sound that echoed like a warning. The assembly remained frozen. The Chancellor tried to speak, but her voice trembled slightly. "Let it be recorded," she said, "that the human delegation has withdrawn. Their membership is suspended until further notice." But even as she spoke, the other ambassadors could not shake a strange feeling, a quiet fear. The humans had not shouted, threatened, or fought. They had simply walked away. And yet that silence carried more danger than any weapon. Outside, the human delegation moved quickly through the long corridors of the station. Ji-won caught up with Dae-hyun. "Sir," she said quietly, "what happens now?" Dae-hyun didn't stop walking. Now, he said, we go home. We tell them what happened here. And then, we decide what must come next. G1 felt a chill as she followed him. She had seen humanity rise from war and rebuild from ashes, but she had never seen this kind of anger, the kind that burned silently, waiting to be unleashed. The alien guard stepped aside as the humans passed. None dared to make eye contact. When they reached their shuttle, General Kim Tae-gon was waiting inside. His face was hard, his eyes dark with thought. It went as expected? He asked. Dae-hyun nodded. They voted against us. It's done. Tae-gon looked out the viewport at the vast stars. Then it begins. The galaxy has no idea what it has just done. The shuttle lifted off, its engines glowing blue as it left the orbital station. Through the glass, the assembly faded into the distance, a shining monument of arrogance and fear. On the surface of the moon below, human warships rested in silence, their hulls hidden under silver dust. Tae-hyun watched them with a heavy heart. Do you think we can avoid war? Ji-won asked softly. Dae-hyun did not answer for a long time. Finally, he said, that depends on them. But if they bring war to our door, then the galaxy will remember what happens when Deathworlders are provoked. The shuttle disappeared into the blackness of space, carrying with it the quiet fury of an entire species. In the assembly hall, the echoes of their footsteps still lingered. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, those who understood humanity best began to whisper in fear. The humans had left the table, and history had just changed forever. The surface of Earth had never been quieter. The usual hum of cities, the chatter of spaceports, and the low roar of military fleets were replaced with a tense stillness. Deep beneath Seoul in the underground War Command Center, President Lee Hanul, General Kim Tae-gon, and other senior officers gathered around a massive holographic map of the solar system. The room glowed with faint blue light, and the air smelled of ozone and electronics. Reports came in from across the colonies. Human settlements on Mars, Luna, and the asteroid belts were being watched, their supply lines monitored. Trade routes were blocked. Patrol fleets from alien species appeared in orbit around human territories. The Galactic Assembly expected humanity to panic, to beg for mercy, to surrender. But the humans had learned long ago that survival depended on calm minds and swift action. Lee Hanul pressed her fingers together and studied the map. They think cutting off our resources will weaken us, she said quietly. They think we will ask for help or surrender our ships. They are wrong. Ji-won, who had returned with Dae-hyun from the assembly, leaned over the table. We have the technology. The fleet on Luna is ready. If we act quickly, we can awaken our hidden ships and secure our borders. Kim Tae-gon nodded. The engineers have already begun. Kang Mira and Han Soo-chil are coordinating the reactivation of the older ships, the ones stored under layers of secrecy. By the time the galaxy notices, our fleets will be ready to defend Earth and the colonies. Meanwhile, engineers move through the lunar shipyards, which had been silent for decades. Ships that once served as defense and exploration vessels were now being powered up. Sparkling hulls reflected the artificial lights as power systems roared to life. The old crews, veterans of countless skirmishes, worked alongside young recruits. Everyone understood the stakes. No one spoke of surrender. No one considered failure. On Earth, factories that had once produced civilian goods were converted to manufacture weapons, supplies, and repair parts. Technicians like Kang Mira adjusted energy cores, while Soo-chil oversaw the navigation systems of the fleet. Each human understood the gravity of the moment. This was no longer diplomacy. This was preparation for a galaxy that had underestimated them. Back in the command center, Lee Hanul addressed the leaders of Earth's colonies through a holographic network. Do not respond to provocation. Do not attack first unless ordered, but do not retreat. Stay hidden, stay ready, and trust in the plans we have made. Across the system, communication silence became part of the strategy. Earth cut off all transmissions that could be intercepted. Alien scouts searched for signals but found only void. The galaxy began to whisper rumors of a missing human presence. Some feared a sudden retreat into isolation, while others suspected that humanity was plotting something larger. No one could know for certain. In the orbital command deck above Luna, Dae-hyun paced. His eyes scanned the holographic displays showing the positions of human colonies and fleets. He could see the patrol ships of alien species attempting to locate Earth's hidden bases. None came close. The humans had learned well from their Deathworld heritage. Stealth, Patience and preparation were as deadly as any weapon. Ji-won approached him. "How long until the fleet is fully operational?" she asked. 2 months, maybe less, Dae-hyun replied. "By then, the galaxy will think we are weak. But when we strike, it will not be a defensive move. It will be a statement." In the meantime, humanity focused on more than just ships and weapons. They sent teams to aid oppressed species under the control of the Galactic Assembly. These efforts were subtle, quiet, and effective. Alien refugees who had suffered under the Council's rules found allies in humans. They whispered among themselves about the strange human trait. They were willing to fight, but only if forced, yet they helped those in need even when it was dangerous. As the weeks passed, the humans completed the awakening of the lunar fleet. Each ship was tested, its systems calibrated, and crews trained. Lee Hanol walked through the shipyard one evening, observing the work. The fleet shimmered in the moonlight as the last ships lifted slightly for final checks. "They think we are weak," she murmured. "Let them watch. Let them wait." The colonies communicated silently, moving resources to hidden depots, strengthening defenses, and ensuring that the human presence would be impossible to destroy quickly. Engineers and soldiers worked side by side, their conversations limited to technical commands. The air was tense, yet there was a sense of unity, of purpose. Humanity had faced worse threats before, but none had dared to challenge the galaxy so directly. Outside the command centers, the galaxy continued its routine. Alien fleets patrolled sectors, expecting to see human colonies begging for peace. Traders and diplomats sent messages, unaware that Earth had already removed its communications from the galactic network. From orbit, Earth appeared as a quiet blue-green sphere, peaceful and calm. No one could imagine the storm hidden beneath its surface. Dae-hyun addressed the officers in the control room one night. "They do not understand us," he said. "They see our history and think it defines us. They forget that humanity survived when every system failed, when every colony fell. They forget that we learned, adapted, and overcame. When the galaxy thinks we are weak, that is when we are strongest." In the darkness beyond Earth's orbit, fleets of human ships waited in silent readiness. Their engines hummed softly, invisible from the sensors of alien patrols. Each ship carried not just weapons, but hope, determination, and the memory of generations who had survived impossible odds. The humans had prepared for the day they would no longer be underestimated. As the months ended, the silence became almost unbearable. But the humans remained patient. They did not launch attacks. They did not issue threats. They only waited, ready for the moment when the galaxy would realize that Earth and its colonies were not to be trifled with. And far away, in the heart of the assembly, delegates whispered of missing signals and unexplained absences. Rumors spread and fear began to grow. For the first time, many began to understand that the humans were not just another race in the galaxy. They were something else entirely, silent, patient, and deadly when provoked. A storm was coming, and the galaxy had not yet seen its first lightning strike. The first reports came quietly at first. Drones from the Zathari Empire, exploring sectors near the edge of known space, found wreckage drifting in orbit around a small asteroid. It was not the result of natural disasters or accidents. The remains were the shattered hulls of pirate fleets that had long plagued human trade routes. No humans were seen. No message was left. Only destruction and silence. The galaxy began to murmur. Something was happening and no one knew what. In the command center on Luna, General Kim Taegon watched the reports with interest. Maps and holographic displays lit the room with the blue glow of star systems. Dae-hyun and Ji-won stood beside him, analyzing the incoming data. Each destroyed fleet left behind the same pattern. No survivors, no warnings, only an unmistakable signature of precision and efficiency. "They think we are weak," Dae-hyun said quietly, his gaze on the displays. "They will learn the truth soon enough." Ji-won shook her head. "No one expected this. Even the council delegates are in shock." Meanwhile, above Titan, the humans prepared for the first official display of their fleet's power. Thousands of ships rose from the thick clouds, engines glowing blue in the methane atmosphere. Each vessel was sleek, deadly, and silent, designed for speed and agility. They had been hidden for decades, rebuilt and improved far beyond what the galaxy had seen. As the ships formed into fleets, Dae-hyun sent the message that would reach every corner of the known systems. "Earth is no longer part of your assembly. You will not threaten humanity again." The message echoed across the stars. On the Council's core world, delegates stared at their screens in disbelief. They had never heard humans speak in such a tone. They had never seen the fleet so vast, so well prepared. Panic spread like fire. Alien species who had once mocked humanity began to question their own defenses, their own alliances. They realized, perhaps too late, that Earth had been underestimated. Back on Luna, Lee Hanel watched as fleets moved in perfect formation. Every ship had a purpose. Every crew member knew their role. The preparation had been meticulous. Months of silent work, hidden engineering, and strategic planning had culminated in this moment. "We have waited," she said to the officers around her, "and now they will see why patience is our greatest weapon." Daehyun turned to Jiwon. "Our allies are ready too. The species we helped in secret will stand with us if needed. They trust us. They owe us nothing, yet they will fight beside us. This is the future of humanity in the galaxy. We are not alone." Reports of alien fleets attempting to approach human space flooded in. Each one was met with careful, measured responses. Human ships did not attack recklessly. They targeted supply lines, communication hubs, and unprotected stations. Entire sectors experienced disruption, yet no civilian worlds were harmed. Humanity showed the galaxy that they were not mindless aggressors. They were disciplined and precise. Daehyun addressed the officers again, his voice steady. "We are not here to destroy for the sake of power. We are here to show that Earth and its colonies cannot be bullied. Our message is clear: respect our sovereignty or face consequences." In the distance, alien ships scrambled to respond. They were fast, powerful, and well-equipped. Yet the humans always seemed one step ahead. Intelligence networks built over decades provided insights into alien tactics. Engineers modified weapons on the fly. Pilots executed maneuvers that the galaxy had never anticipated. The humans had transformed the quiet waiting of months into a tactical advantage. Jiwon looked at the displays showing damaged alien fleets. "They are already scared," she said. "Even the strongest empires are hesitating." Taegon nodded. "Fear is the result of understanding what humans are capable of. The galaxy assumed we were weak because we stayed silent. Now they know the truth." As the days passed, the human fleets extended their reach. They did not invade. They liberated. Planets oppressed by the Galactic Assembly saw human ships land, not with fire and destruction, but with precision strikes against oppressive forces. Alien civilians witnessed humans offering protection and aid. The reputation of humanity spread faster than any fleet could travel. They were not only survivors of a harsh planet, but defenders of those who could not defend themselves. In one sector, a group of former pirate worlds received human fleets and assistance in rebuilding. The leaders of these worlds were wary, but they quickly realized that humanity did not act out of greed or conquest. They acted out of principle. Daehyun had made sure the message was consistent across all operations. Humans would protect the innocent, punish aggression, and never allow their allies to be subjugated. Back on Luna, the command center was alive with activity. Ships were moving, crews training, engineers repairing and upgrading. Lee Hanul observed quietly. "They will speak our names with respect soon," she said softly, "or with fear." The galaxy had begun to understand that humanity was not merely a species to be managed, contained, or dismissed. Humanity was a force, silent, patient, and deadly. They did not need to shout or threaten. They did not need to conquer without cause. Their history had taught them discipline, strategy, and survival against impossible odds. And so the first phase of humanity's response concluded. They had made themselves known, not through reckless attack, but through controlled precision. The galaxy watched in awe and fear. The humans had awakened their fleet, struck with surgical effectiveness, and extended a hand to those in need. They had shown strength, but also wisdom. Every corner of human space was ready. Every fleet was operational. Every crew member understood the stakes. The galaxy would never again underestimate Earth and its colonies. And as the humans waited for the next moves of the Assembly and their fleets, one thought remained clear. The storm was only beginning, and the lightning had yet to strike fully. The Galactic Assembly had sent fleets in response, expecting to intimidate Earth and its colonies. They assumed the humans would be panicked, disorganized, and easy to suppress. But the moment the first Council warships approached the outer system of Mars, they found themselves under attack. Not a reckless assault, but a series of precise strikes that crippled engines, destroyed communication arrays, and left the ships disabled. The humans were already everywhere. The Council did not expect them. On the command bridge of the flagship overseeing the operation, General Kim Tae-gon watched the battle unfold. Holographic displays showed alien ships drifting in orbit, their hulls scarred, their systems offline. Officers reported no civilian casualties, only targets that had threatened humans or the colonies. Tae-gon allowed a rare smile. Humanity had learned to fight with discipline and care. Their opponents would remember the efficiency of Deathworlders for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, President Lee Hanul addressed the people of Earth and the colonies through secure channels. Her hologram filled millions of homes, space stations, and hidden bases. "We do not seek conquest," she said clearly. "We seek respect. We do not attack unless provoked. But if the galaxy tests are resolved, they will learn what humanity can do. Stand ready. Protect your homes. Trust in the plans we have set. We are the children of a harsh world. We survive, we endure. We strike when necessary." Across the colonies, humans mobilized with precision. Earth-trained officers and local militia worked together to secure vital points, supply routes, and communication hubs. Alien scouts and patrols attempting to investigate were intercepted swiftly and quietly. The galaxy had expected chaos. What they found was strategy, discipline, and perfect coordination. Humans were no longer simply surviving, they were asserting control over their own destiny. Ji-won led a team to assist oppressed species under the Council's control. She moved with care, rescuing colonies suffering from overtaxing, harsh labor, and warlords supported by the Assembly. Many species had long feared humanity's reputation for brutality. They had not yet seen the other side, compassion. Humans offered security, repairs, medical aid, and protection. Word spread quickly through secret networks. Alien races once hesitant or hostile now sent messages of tentative trust. Daehyun stood on the bridge of a flagship, observing fleets moving silently through space. The Council had sent reinforcements from multiple sectors. Some were slow, heavy ships, confident in their strength. Others were light, fast vessels meant to probe and block human fleets. Each one was met with calculated resistance. Humans did not waste energy on destruction that was unnecessary. They neutralized threats with minimal effort, creating an aura of near invincibility. The galaxy began to whisper the truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. In the middle of one battle near the Jovian moons, a Council flagship attempted to attack a human colony directly. Kang Mira and her engineers coordinated the countermeasures, activating defensive grids and deploying fast strike ships. The Council vessel was disabled before it could fire a single weapon. Civilians remained unharmed. The message was clear. The humans could strike, but they could also protect. Their strategy inspired fear and hope at the same time. Reports from the edges of the galaxy arrived quickly. Systems once under Assembly control began to question their loyalties. Some colonies quietly opened communications with humans. Others sabotaged supply routes to avoid becoming targets themselves. The galaxy was starting to fracture. The Assembly had expected a single, fearful species to beg for mercy. Instead, humanity moved like a wave, precise and unstoppable. In Luna's command center, Lee Hanul studied the flow of events. Daehyun joined her. "They are trying to regroup," she said, pointing at the holographic display. "But every time they think they have an advantage, our fleets are already ahead." Daehyun nodded. "Our allies will come forward soon. Those species we helped secretly are preparing to act. They will join us if the Council continues this path. They owe us nothing, but they will not forget." Ji-won watched as a fleet of rescued alien ships joined human formations. Colors and shapes unfamiliar to human eyes filled the display, yet they moved with the same discipline. The humans had taught them coordination, strategy, and trust. Together, they formed a force no single Assembly faction could challenge. It was not conquest. It was liberation and unity. Back on Earth, civilians watched the progress with a mix of fear and pride. Traders, miners, and farmers knew the human fleets were no longer just machines. They were symbols of resilience and determination. Every victory, every successful mission, strengthened the belief that Earth and its colonies could survive any threat. The Galactic Assembly tried to send diplomats to negotiate, but human interception teams ensured that only controlled communications were possible. No sudden surprises could breach their perimeter. The council learned that the humans did not rely solely on firepower. They relied on intelligence, discipline, and strategy. Every move was calculated, every response measured. The galaxy had underestimated what patience, preparation, and resolve could achieve. Tygon observed a simulation of the upcoming phases of the operation. The council will hesitate now, he said. They will send more forces, but they will think twice. Fear has entered their calculations, and once fear enters, mistakes follow. The humans did not celebrate their victories. Each success was a step toward establishing order, protecting the colonies, and securing respect for Earth. They maintained discipline, ensured their allies were safe, and continued to train their crews. The galaxy was changing. A single species, underestimated for centuries, had become a beacon of both terror and hope. As the day ended, Daehyun looked at the distant stars from the command bridge. "We have not destroyed the galaxy," he said quietly. "We have only shown that we will defend it, protect the innocent, and respond with precision when threatened. The Assembly will remember this day. The galaxy will remember this moment." The human fleets moved silently through space, extending their control and influence. They struck where needed, defended where necessary, and rescued where possible. Every action sent a message to the stars. Humanity would not be controlled, underestimated, or ignored. The galaxy had seen the first phase of retaliation, and it was only the beginning. Humanity's influence was spreading, and the Assembly was learning that there was more to Deathworlders than history and prejudice could ever predict. The Galactic Assembly convened once more, but this time it was different. The Grand Hall, usually filled with chatter, debate, and posturing, was quiet. Screens flickered to life, and alien delegates turned toward the communication feed. For the first time, the humans appeared not through ambassadors, but through fleets and holograms, projecting strength and unity. Behind Ambassador Han Daehyun stood soldiers, engineers, and diplomats from Earth, Mars, Luna, and allied species who had been liberated during the recent campaigns. The council watched, stunned. Daehyun's voice was calm, steady, and carried across the hall. "We asked for equality. We asked for respect. You answered with arrogance. We withdrew not to hide, but to prepare. You forced our hand. You will remember this day." Delegates whispered among themselves. They had not expected this. The human fleets had already shown they could strike anywhere in the galaxy with precision. They had liberated colonies, defended civilians, and strengthened alliances. Some species that had once mocked humanity now stood behind them, fully committed. The Assembly had underestimated the Deathworlders. It was a mistake they could not reverse. President Lee Hanel appeared next, her image projected to the entire Assembly. "We do not seek to rule. We do not seek conquest. We seek fairness. Every species deserves respect, and every species deserves a voice. You ignored this. You underestimated humanity. Now you see the consequence of your arrogance." The delegates remained silent. Some looked terrified, others ashamed. It was clear that the humans had changed the balance of power. Their fleets alone were a formidable force, but their strategy, unity, and alliances made them unstoppable. The galaxy had never witnessed a species combine intelligence, resilience, and discipline in such a way. Daehyun continued. "We have not destroyed the galaxy. We have only corrected it. Systems that were oppressed are now free. Species that were silenced now have a voice. The Assembly can either change or it can dissolve. We leave that choice to you." The silence in the hall was broken only by the faint hum of holographic displays and the soft mechanical movements of alien delegates. Some tried to speak, to negotiate, but the presence of the human fleets made them hesitate. They knew any aggressive action would be met with immediate and devastating response. Humanity had shown that they could strike with surgical precision, and the galaxy had learned that their patience was deadly. Across the galaxy, colonies watched in anticipation. The humans had not just returned with power, they had returned with principles. The liberated species sent messages of solidarity, pledging cooperation, support, and protection. Earth's influence expanded not through war, but through action and integrity. The message was clear: humanity could not be ignored. Within the assembly hall, Daehyun allowed a moment of pause before continuing. "Let it be recorded. The humans are no longer members of this assembly unless equality is recognized. Every species stands equal or none stands at all. We will not compromise on this." The effect was immediate. Some delegates began discussions to draft a new charter. The old council factions were shaken, their authority weakened. Diplomats from former colonies suggested reforms, ensuring that no single species could dominate again. Humanity had reshaped the rules without firing a single shot at the assembly itself. Their actions were precise, their influence undeniable. Lee Hanul addressed the human fleets gathered across space. The galaxy has seen our strength, our unity, and our principles. We have not sought vengeance. We have not sought conquest. We have only acted to secure respect and fairness. Our work is not done. We will continue to protect those in need and ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Daehyun watched the faces of the liberated species. Many were nervous, still unsure about humans despite their actions. But trust had been built slowly through courage, discipline, and integrity. The galaxy was learning that humans were not just survivors of a harsh planet. They were protectors, allies, and leaders when necessary. The Assembly, faced with overwhelming evidence of human power and diplomacy, made the only reasonable choice. Within days, the old council dissolved itself. New representatives from liberated systems, former colonies, and neutral species were invited to form a revised charter. The first article was clear and unambiguous. All species stand equal, or none stand at all. Humanity had forced change not with aggression, but with action, preparation, and unwavering principle. Across human space, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Officers and crews shared moments of relief. Engineers like Kang Mira and Hansu Cheol smiled at their achievements, knowing that their work had saved countless lives. Soldiers and diplomats alike understood that their patient preparation had reshaped the galaxy without unnecessary bloodshed. They had proven that the Deathworlders were not only survivors, but a force for justice and fairness. In the quiet aftermath, Daehyun reflected on the journey. From the day the Assembly mocked them to the moment they forced change, humans had relied on their resilience, intelligence, and unity. They had faced the galaxy not as conquerors but as equals demanding recognition, and the galaxy had watched in terror and awe, forever changed by the species it had once dismissed. The fleets returned to orbit around Earth and Luna, not as a warning but as a symbol of readiness and protection. Humanity had shown the universe what it meant to be Deathworlders, disciplined, patient, and unyielding. And as the stars shone across the vast reaches of space, whispers spread from system to system, telling the tale of the day the humans stormed out of the Assembly and changed the galaxy forever.